What is one word that comes to mind when you think of this play?
Real.
Important.
Consent.
Heavy.
Intense.
Raw. Playing Emma is a bit of a weird part to play because it's like playing two different characters throughout the show. She starts off and she's really, really confident and everyone loves her and she's really popular. And by the end of the show, nobody wants to know who she is because of what she's been through. Nobody believes her. So I think it's really important for people to look at what's the right way to handle it and what's the right way to listen to people's stories and how we listen so that we can be better for the next person that this unfortunately happens to.
When you're playing Dylan, like, he is quite a hard character to play. He is the epitome of just evil. Like, he can influence and bully other lads into following him and the terrible things that he does. Whereas I hope this play kind of shows young men to kind of become leaders instead of followers behind people like Dylan.
I wouldn't say it's hard to kind of struggle with as much as like the other roles of the other male characters in the play, just due to there's no real bad side to Brian. You don't really see much. He's kind of very straight with his morals and he's kind of not letting anything slide. There shouldn't be any tiptoeing around the situation at all. It should just be straightforward. It needs to be fixed. Like, it shouldn't be like a taboo issue to talk about. Like, it needs to be brought up, it needs to be addressed. Things need to be done about it. And I hope any young person who does come see the play does see that.
Tell me about Ali. Tell me about her character.
Well, she's a bit of a bimbo. She's Emma's best friend and she's just obsessed with boys. It's like, it's what drives her. You're young, you're a teenager, everything's going on for you. My advice is to educate yourself, look up resources such as the Dublin Rape Crisis Centre, that'll have things like that, and just talking to other girls and just learning and educating yourself for your own sake as well as for the sake of other girls around you about what consent actually is.
Well, this mother in particular, she is very shielded. She is very obsessed with her image and having her family come across in a certain way. Beneath all that, she's extremely just distraught by what's happened and she doesn't want to address it. So she tries to kind of slip it under the rug. If your child is brave enough to come to you with this, it's not something that rolls off the tongue. It's not something that's easy to talk about. So, you need to be aware of what they've gone through, but you also need to be a shoulder to cry on and never be any sense of judgment or anything like that because it's not going to do them any favours. They've gone through something awful and as their parent, you need to be there for them no matter what. I think by hearing her thoughts, you're actually hearing what she's feeling. We hear a lot about, this is what victims feel like and that is what victims feel like, but by hearing her inside thoughts the whole way through the show, we see a massive change in her character and we know exactly how she feels from the minute it happens right through like the entire year after, where it may not be my story, it's, it's a lot of people's stories. And we've all had some sort of experience, some sort of negative experience in that sense. And, even if your story isn't Emma's story, a part of Emma's story is your story.
Other times, I think some people think, watching a play, they think it's something out of reality, oh, of course it's going to be, over-exaggerated to bits. But no, this behaviour occurs literally every day. You know the phrase, oh, only a few bad apples. But in this case, they influence everyone else to do that.
Consent is something that always needs to be talked about. There shouldn't be any kind of like in school and stuff, we shouldn't just be learning about it from 6th year. We should be learning about it from the moment we're in any way going through puberty and in any way thinking about any kind of sexual activity straight away. It should all just be about consent at all times.
1 in 5 women.
That's a sister.
A friend.
An auntie.
A mother. Not all men, but enough.
It's not about men bashing. It's about taking responsibility for your actions.
It's time to stand up and speak out. Call out your friends for inappropriate behaviour.
It's time to listen and believe her.